The airstrikes are not stopping in the Middle East despite calls for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas militants. Tonight, Secretary of State John Kerry is in Cairo negotiating for peace. On the Palestinian side, 565 people are dead, another 3,600 wounded. 25 Israeli military members have been killed, as well as 2 civilians. CBS 2's Jessica Schneider has more.
Protests and anger in the streets as Palestinian protesters clash with Israeli troops. In Israel, soldiers laid to rest. Ilan Vaknin is visiting New Jersey. He was the high school principal for one of the young soldiers killed this weekend.
I have so many of my students right now in combat. They're sending me pictures. Some of them are injured.
President Obama is calling for a ceasefire. Secretary of State John Kerry arrived in Egypt with UN Secretary Ban Ki-moon in an attempt to get Hamas to stop the fighting.
Only Hamas now needs to make the decision to spare innocent civilians from this violence.
Israeli officials say Hamas is taking advantage of Gaza's close proximity to their country, lobbing missiles and building tunnels into Israel. So far, Israel's defense system has blocked many of the rockets, but the Israeli Defense Force provided this video of the attacks that made it through. Palestinians say families are victims. 24 members of a single family died in a rocket attack. This relative saying, "Doesn't this show that Israel is ruthless?" But Israel says Hamas is using its own people as human shields, deliberately launching rockets from heavily populated areas.
It now has to be our focus and the focus of the international community to bring about a ceasefire that ends the fighting and that can stop the deaths of innocent civilians.
Hamas leaders say they won't put down their weapons until a series of demands are met, including the release of prisoners accused of killing 3 Israeli teens last month. Meanwhile, 2 of the Israeli soldiers killed were Americans who had gone to Israel to join the army. Christine.